In the world of technology, there is a paradox, one that is as absurd as it is fascinating. While the rest of the world is obsessed with AGI, quantum computing, and the colonization of Mars, Japan, a former global tech superpower, seems to have compressed all of that world-changing energy into something as small as a toilet seat. Of course, that is an exaggeration. It is not just toilets, it is reflected in countless everyday objects and scenes across the country. But this isn't just about hygiene, and it is not just a relentless pursuit of craftsmanship. It is certainly about more than just economics. If you look closely at Japan's patent trends since 1991, you'll see a baffling pattern. Japan's top engineers are dedicating an almost obsessive precision to optimizing the most mundane, even humble details of daily life. Behind this lies a 30-year-long story of a calculated yet inevitable strategic defense. Today, let's peel back the layers of these sophisticated machines and talk about how Japan, amidst the lingering geopolitical aftershocks, actively chose this path of inward evolution in its technological evolution. Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. And this time, once again, we begin in Japan. The idea of a downward evolution might sound counterintuitive at first, but when you look through the lens of global power plays, it reveals itself as a highly calculated hedging strategy, a choice made after Japan realized certain global rules were stacked against them. Now, let's clear the fog and go back to the turning point where everything changed. To understand this defense, we have to look back at an era that still sends a chill through the Japanese tech industry today. In the mid-1980s, Japanese technology was at the peak of what could be called predatory expansion. At that time, the top three semiconductor companies in the world, NEC, Toshiba, and Hitachi, were all Japanese. This aggressive upward push directly crossed the red lines of the global order. There is a fascinating piece of evidence that proves this strategic pivot, the Nobel Prize. If you look at the data, you'll find a paradoxical trend. Before the bubble burst in 1991, Japan had very few Nobel laureates in science. Only 4. But after 1991, Japanese Nobel wins exploded, with someone seemingly winning almost every year. Many use this to argue that Japanese tech remained powerful after the 90s. But if you scrutinize the years when the actual research was conducted, the truth is far more unsettling. The vast majority of these Nobel-winning breakthroughs were completed during the golden window of the 1980s. What does this mean? It means that before 1991, Japan was charging toward the commanding heights of science, the very edge of human knowledge. But after 1991, while Japan was busy harvesting the legacy of that era, its new generation of talent had stopped venturing into those high-risk no-man's lands. Instead, they chose more pragmatic, safer territories. Yes, it was a choice. From the Plaza Accord in 1985 to the 1987 Toshiba trauma, Japan learned a hard lesson. Winning often means being targeted, and so the will for upward expansion was severed. They learned to be cautious, and they learned how to find cover. And so, after the economic bubble burst and the stock market collapsed in 1991, Japan's technological roadmap underwent a subtle but absolute pivot. They began searching for sectors that were high-tech but low strategic sensitivity. The smart toilet became the perfect answer. Developing a world-class toilet requires extreme material science, like nanoscale ceramics, complex fluid mechanics, for the siphonic jet systems and precision microelectronic controls. But the most critical factor is this: a toilet possesses zero strategic offensive power. No major power is going to launch a national security review just because Japan dominates the global high-end toilet market. The toilet became the ultimate technological bunker for Japanese high-tech. Within its confines, Japan could safely vent its surplus, restless, innovative energy without the fear of repeating the 1987 sanction tragedy. This was a hedging strategy born out of pure survival instinct. If this logic still isn't convincing enough, let's look at some truly brutal data. Since 1991, during Japan's so-called lost decades, how many tech giants have emerged globally that have fundamentally changed our way of life, or even rewritten the very logic of civilization? Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Tesla, SpaceX, ByteDance, OpenAI, Netflix, Airbnb, Uber, Nevada, Idea. Now, look at the other side. Over these same 30 years, which new generation Japanese tech giant has emerged with that same level of global dominance? The names that come to mind are still Sony, Nintendo, Toyota, Fanuc, Toshiba, but every single one of them, without exception, was founded before 1991. Looking at the results, Japan missed every major global trend. For a nation with such depth, 30 years of absence isn't just unusual, it's impossible. Anyone who truly understands Japan knows there is only one explanation. Japan chose to go invisible. In these 30 years, Japan hasn't stopped innovating. They've simply shifted to digging deeper into existing ruts. While the rest of the world is locked in a fierce struggle over the AI and energy revolutions, Japan is tending to these inconspicuous everyday extremes, quietly maintaining a sense of societal dignity. This pursuit of absolute detail is in fact an inward-looking evolution, a defensive choice made after their upward path was locked away, all to avoid the risk of future sanctions. This defensive choice has brought an exceptionally high quality of life, but it has also trapped Japan in a profound path dependency. While the rest of the world entered an era driven by software, fueled by data, and defined by the rapid iteration of the internet and AI, Japan remained in its workshop, practicing the art of the impossible within the narrow shell of hardware. Because hardware is tangible, it is safe, it is the territory Japan knows best, and the one least likely to trigger sanctions. When the ambition to challenge the global throne was forced to recede, Japan chose to dedicate all its brilliance to the warmth of these few square inches. It is an exquisite compromise. The Japanese toilet seat is in the end a report card written in the language of defense and retreat. Having witnessed the cold reality of global power plays, they chose to seek refuge in the quiet corners of daily life, elevating a mundane scene to the level of the sublime. In doing so, they traded their grandest ambitions for decades of peace and stability. This leaves us with a question worth everyone's reflection. When a civilization finds that it can no longer move upward, does achieving an irreplaceable perfection in breadth and detail become a form of profound survival wisdom? In this exquisite contraction, what exactly did Japan lose, and what did it manage to save? In the end, I have to admit I've grown incredibly fond of Japan's 7-Elevens, the ubiquitous vending machines, the electric toothbrushes, the high-performance thermoses, and of course the now indispensable smart toilets. There is a level of refined convenience there that is truly remarkable. It makes life incredibly comfortable. Thanks for thinking with me. If you enjoy exploring ideas like this, you might consider subscribing. I'm hoping this channel might slowly gather a small group of curious minds who enjoy thinking about the world together.